Welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing well. This is our last remote show for quite a while, so I'm very excited to actually be able to hopefully be in a real studio, possibly. Not guaranteed, but there might be some upgrades coming to our recording situation soon.
Right, correct. This Sunday, both of us are heading back to Springfield College, where the show started, and possibly going into not quite the studio, but somewhat near the studio where it all started. The Springfield College is trying to make some upgrades with their podcast audio game, so we're going to be dabbling in that a little bit, so that's going to be good. Maybe bring some better audio quality to the show, so that's going to be very good. We're gonna learn all that from three-time guest Kyle Belanger from Springfield
soon to be
College.
Four-time guest.
Yeah, soon to be four-time. All right, so that's an amazing thing that's going to be happening. We'll be back in person, which is great. Last episode we talked about each, the most important races, and probably the ones that are heating up the most are, National League wildcard second spot and the National League West. And, last episode, which was 3 days ago, the Giants were 2.5 up on the Dodgers. We were both pretty high on the Giants, and, saying that they would win the division. I probably still stand by that given their schedule, but the Dodgers swept the Braves, I believe. I don't think they're playing any more games. And the Giants have lost 3 in a row to the Brewers. So, the Dodgers are in first place for the first time in a while.
April 28th. It's funny, Chris, because the Giants, they finished the month of August with a record of 19-9, which was their best winning percentage in any month. But it doesn't feel that way because the Dodgers just casually went 21-6.
It's crazy.
Like they do. They have not lost consecutive games since July 21st through 23rd. That is crazy.
Wow.
Actually, that's a lie. July 29th and 30th, but still.
So it's really been since the trade deadline.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The Dodgers, I think part of it is, once they made that big trade, you could argue they were the biggest, I would say, top 3 winners of the trade deadline. And that might've rejuvenated the team a little bit, gave them a little more energy.
It absolutely might have.
With Trey Turner and Max Scherzer coming over there. And then also Seager came off the IL in that span. So that was another addition to consider. So, they've just been reigning terror on the league in the past month.
Yeah, no, it has been brutal for Giants fans to play probably some of their best baseball all year and still not have anything to show for it. In fact, you lose out of it.
Right. Yeah, and it's not like a thing of like, what could we have done at the trade deadline? Like, you got Chris Bryant at the trade deadline. It's not like they didn't do anything. It's just, the Dodgers just overachieved.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The Dodgers. I don't want to say they overachieved. Like that sounds weird because like we know that they're still a really good team. Are they? Is 21-6 like sustainable? No, probably not. That's a 778 winning percentage. But I mean, like this is still like we can't act like this team isn't capable of doing that for the next month again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, we should look at some stats from the Dodgers in the past since like the trade deadline because man
Yeah,
have
I'll
they
do
just
that.
been have they just been wreaking havoc? Because yeah, the Giants have been all right, but or the Giants have been very good, but oddly enough, it hasn't been enough to keep that first place spot. And yeah, I think a lot of the fate of the National League West will have to do with like how how the Giants do against the Padres in those 10 matchups.
So since the trade deadline, the Dodgers as a team have a 2.28 ERA. Nobody else has anything better than a 3.09. But naturally,
Right.
their FIP is almost a full run higher. It's a 3.26. So like there is reason to believe that from a pitching standpoint, it isn't exactly this sustainable. Um, I think that that certainly has a lot to do with it. The
Right.
Giants have a 3.10 with a 3.29 FIP.
Right.
Yeah,
Um
they have the Dodgers are walking 3 batters per 9. That'll do it.
uh the Dodgers or
The Dodgers are, yeah.
oh that's why
That's
they
why the FIP is so high. As for their offense, they're kind of middle of the pack. They're 11th in position player FWAR since August 1st.
yeah, I was about to
They're
say
slashing. You know what's funny? They're slashing 236 over this time.
they're
They're batting 236,
oh that's funny.
which is 24th in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was about to say I was looking at their individual statistics since July 31st, and there's only one guy with an OPS above 850,
Mhm.
and it's Will Smith, who's been who's been killing it for sure. Your player to watch.
That is
Uh,
my player to watch.
but yeah, I think yeah, the pitching has definitely like Bueller has become one of the front runners in the Cy Young vote. Max
Mhm.
Scherzer is probably adding himself into the Cy Young candidacy as well. So they've just had a bunch of horses just going for them. Like who else in that rotation is doing well? Um, it's
Great question.
I
I
mean
know.
Kershaw's on the IL still, I
Yeah, he
think, right?
is. That's the thing.
Um,
So
yeah,
Kershaw's on the IL. Arias is still. I mean, I mean, really, like you just had to go out there and pitch well, and that's all. Like you don't need to be perfect to win games if you're a Dodger. Their bullpen is what's been catching my attention. They have a couple. Kenley Jansen has turned it around recently. He struggled for a little bit. But they have some breakout candidates in that bullpen. Alex Vesia has been really, really good for them, and then Phil Bickford. Those two in particular have been really impressive for them recently. And then Blake Trine and Jimmy Nelson, like they have a lot of guys that you don't want to face coming out of that bullpen.
yeah. Blake Trinan has proved to be a very good offseason signing. I know the Dodgers had him last year, but he was still a free agent at the end of the year. And yeah, good on the Dodgers to snag him up because he's been one of the best relievers in baseball. He has a 1.97
Um,
ERA and a 2.08 expected ERA.
yeah, yeah. I just found out Kevin Quackenbush threw a third of an inning for this team. I did not realize he was still in the league. Good for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he struck the guy. He struck a batter out, but he also allowed.
He has a 27 ERA with a negative 2.84 FIP. And you want to talk about a guy getting unlucky?
Yeah. Yeah, what happened
That's
there?
that's that's difficult. You can't be having that.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. You, you have to reevaluate the Dodgers defense with a difference like that.
Yeah, you do. So Blake Trinan, since August 1st, he is a 1.23 ERA, 2.54 FIP, which is because he's walking 3.68 batters per nine. So that's not great. Kenley Jansen, though, a 1.8 ERA with a 2.36 FIP. That's very good. Phil Bickford, a 1.88 ERA with a 3.16 FIP. Alex Vesia, he's given up a lot of home runs, so his FIP is going to be almost 2 full runs higher. That's actually crazy. 1.59 ERA with a 3.51 FIP, but like if your FIP is way higher and it's because you're giving up a lot of home runs, like that's still a little bit more sustainable. That's not as sustainable. Like that leads me to believe that you are a little more unlucky, even though your FIP says that you're getting lucky. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah,
I guess that's what xFIP is for, and his xFIP is 3.09. It's nearly half a run lower than his actual FIP.
Yeah, it just depends what types of home runs he's given up.
Yeah, I mean, if he's giving up 450-foot home runs, then it doesn't really count.
Yeah, and then
Also,
yeah.
Neftali Feliz is in this bullpen too.
I was about to say this is like the all early 2010s draft.
I mean, these are guys that could be drafted in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I don't know what our rules are going to be like if they've played in the 2020s. Do we like is that a notch down?
I was thinking about it, but like I think it's fine if you have to ask what team they're on. Like 5 minutes ago, and if someone said like, "Oh, I'm gonna take Kevin Quackenbush," and you said no, they're on a team, I would have been like, "Wait, what team?"
Oh, right.
Like if you associate them more with when I think Kevin Quackenbush, I'm like, oh yeah, Padres, like mid 2010s. Like I'm definitely not thinking of like if you associate them more with the 2010s, then I think it counts.
Actually, we should allow all players, because if you take in a well-known player, that's gonna bring your team down.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I draft like Joe Mauer as my catcher, then it's just like, well, no, that doesn't count.
Yeah, right. If I draft Albert Pujols, it's not going to be. Although
remember that guy,
his numbers in the 2010s seemed like an average guy.
Yeah, no, like we're drafting based on nostalgia in that draft, not based on, how well known you were. Or now we're not drafting based on like who has the best wins above replacement, who has the most talented team. Like we are drafting on, I'm calling it the I haven't heard that name in years draft.
Yeah.
Like that's how I want people to react to every player drafted.
Yeah, what would that be? IHHTN draft. IHHTN draft.
I haven't heard that name. Well, IY.
IY, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard that name in years draft.
So yeah, for context, by the way, us two and a few other people are going to do an all like mostly early 2010s, but mainly 2010s irrelevant draft. So don't reveal any names. Don't reveal any names yet. But yeah, but it's just going to be a big nostalgia run for anyone who like was getting into baseball in like the 2010s, or like played like early 2010s baseball video games.
Baseball. Yeah.
Like it'll bring back the memes. But back to the Dodgers. I mean, there are 3 starters that we know are going to be pitching in the playoffs. Scherzer, Buehler, and Urias. In this span, the highest ERA out of that group is a 1.56, which is crazy. As you probably see as well on your screen, but that I just had to mention that.
That's
pretty wild.
I mean, to be fair, that guy does have a 2.98 FIP.
Yeah.
Which
he does.
It's a very high difference.
Yeah, Buehler, I think has Buehler's strikeouts been going down this year?
I think he's just walking more people.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a look at Buehler's.
Because like his FIP is a full run higher than his ERA.
this is
like on the year.
yeah, but I mean, it's pretty amazing that Bueller, this is a year where he may win Cy Young, and this is the lowest strikeouts per nine he's had in his career.
Yep, then that'll do it.
And yeah, his walk rate is down from where it was last year, but up from where it was in 2019. And
Well, to be fair, he was a slightly alarming of mine last year. So I mean,
right.
we're talking shortened season, giving up a lot of barrels, had blister issues.
Yep. But now he's kind of back on track. So yeah, the Dodgers are now half game up on the half game up on the Giants in the National League West, and maybe I'm being a little bit too optimistic because on the Giants, because I feel like I don't want to back off a take after 3 days, but it's very tempting.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, I think this series is gonna say a lot. Is it the last time they play each other? I think it is.
Oh, they play each other this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend is the last time.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's gonna be big.
In San Fran. I wish we knew starters. We do not.
Yeah, and then today for the Giants, they're playing their last game against the Brewers, so they can tie up that National League West first place spot. It's going to be Logan Webb versus Eric Lauer.
That's a game they should win.
Right, and it's a getaway day, especially for Milwaukee.
For whatever reason, I think Eric Lauer has like much better splits against like good teams versus bad teams.
Well, yeah, they call him big game Eric.
Big game Lauer.
Big game Lauer.
Yeah, he's gonna be starting game 1 of every postseason series.
Yeah, he ain't showing up. He ain't showing up for the D-backs game. He's only up for the dot. He's like Eli Manning. Like Eli Manning would just ball out in the playoffs, but
but he was just
his best regular season would be like a 10-6 record for the most part.
Yeah, the dude was the 4 seed in both years he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like just winning road playoff games like it's nothing. That's basically Eric Lauer. But yeah, I mean, with Dodgers and Giants, it's funny because they're literally on this website Tankathon that I'm looking at. They're literally number 12 and number 13 in strength of schedule remaining. So I mean, their schedules left in terms of strength against them are almost identical. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I would be leaning more towards Dodgers now. I think I was being a little more optimistic at the beginning of the show when I said I might stand by the Giants, but I was pretty high. There's reason to be high on the Dodgers for sure. We were both high on the Dodgers before the season because of what they've added, and now they've added even more in the middle of the season. So,
right,
yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how it all goes down. All right, do we want to get into what's happening close to home?
Let's do it.
The Red Sox have currently 7 players on the COVID IL, I believe. 7 now, and I think 4 staff members as well. They have a lot of bullpen guys. I'm trying to get the complete list of players that have COVID. I know Hirokazu Sawamura.
I got it. I got it. So it's Kike Hernandez, Christian Arroyo, Martin Perez, Matt Barnes, Hirokazu Sawamura, Josh Taylor, Xander Bogaerts, Yairo Munoz, and that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, and I think that's 4 relievers.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 relievers from an already struggling bullpen. They won their match last night against the Rays 3-2. It was kind of one they needed.
The Rays went 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. The Red Sox won by 1 run, so that was not a game they should have won.
Yeah, Yeah, and it was Chris Sale versus Drew Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Red Sox should have that, but uh, even with that, they gave up a lot of base runners. But yeah, and I believe now the AL wild card. I think the A's are now one game within the Red Sox for the AL wild card.
Maybe.
Um,
Let me check that. Well, no, the
yeah.
A's did lose last night, so I don't know.
Oh,
They're
so
2 games. They're 2 games back.
yeah, what are we thinking about this outbreak and how it could affect the Red Sox?
I think it all depends on how long they all last because, they could be gone for 10 days. They could be gone for 2 days. I think they just have to test negative twice, right? That's how the policy is.
Um, Hopefully.
Josh Taylor, on his injury report, it just says COVID-19 protocol. It doesn't say COVID-19. So I believe he was contact traced, but never actually tested positive. I think that's what that would imply. So, I mean, getting him back as soon as possible would definitely be vital because he's been a big reliever for them pretty much all year, basically since May.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that alone makes a big difference, instead of just Adam Ottavino, Garrett Whitlock, and Garrett Richards out of the bullpen. Like Josh Taylor adds a big, A, he's a lefty, and B, he's just another guy that they can use that can get the job done most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's some big relievers that are on this COVID IL, and Josh Taylor was one of the few guys that was not trending very poorly. Like, out of that list, some of those guys, you're like, they kind of needed this break. Some of those guys, but
That's what I was gonna say with Matt Barnes. Like this might be the setback that he needed. Where I don't know how he's feeling. There aren't many reports on that, but hopefully he's doing all right. Hopefully he doesn't have a severe case of it. And hopefully he can come back after some rest and maybe get back to how he was before the All-Star break.
right. Like, if he's someone who's not getting very severe symptoms and is able to kind of take get a mental reset, that would be something where it's like in the long run it might benefit someone like him. But yeah, Taylor would be nice to have back. Sawamura is just the weirdest reliever. I feel like he throws it in the strike zone like 10% of the time, and then but guys just swing at everything against him. Yeah, Sawamura is a little weird, and Martin Perez, he's Martin Perez.
The one thing that does genuinely worry me about this outbreak is Eduardo Rodriguez, because he had a very he probably had the most severe case of COVID in Major League Baseball last year. He had heart problems. He had to learn to walk again. He's obviously, first of all, this is it's obviously very bad for his health. It was in the past. And I just hope that he's able to stay away from it because the last thing I want is him getting COVID again, at all, regardless of what kind of case it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for those unaware, he got myocarditis, which is a heart condition that some people get in with COVID-19. But yeah, that's probably the person you want to protect the most. He's actually starting tonight, so hopefully he's able to be safe. I wonder what his because you never know about the virus. Like, is he almost protected a little more because he had it before, or is he vaccinated now?
I mean, he had it like a year ago, and the antibodies are supposed to go away after a few months or so. So I don't know if having it, he has to be vaccinated. I mean, there's no reports, but I would assume he is after that. But I mean, I'm sure he's protected just by the vaccine of any worse symptoms.
Further damage.
But I don't think the antibodies are gonna do their thing since he had it over a year ago.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Red Sox, they're 7 down right now. They also have some coaches that are not in it. And also, actually, yeah, one thing I will say is some people are trying to make this a thing where the Red Sox are anti-vaccine or whatever. And they're under the 85% threshold, and but like the entire time, I think Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, has been, pretty adamant of, encouraging of people getting the vaccine. And also, the Yankees had a similar outbreak to this. They had 6 players go down with COVID in like a 2-day span. They were the first team to reach the 85% threshold. So,
Yeah.
it's not really a correlation there. I know sometimes it can be preventative, but this is not a thing where like no one on the Red Sox is vaccinated. In fact, I would guess the overwhelming majority are vaccinated. It's not a thing where
Players,
like
yeah.
the anti-vax team finally had their outbreak. I'm not really buying into that. But
Well,
that's
Matt's like,
not
I mean, if we just want to look into individual cases, like Matt Barnes, like I'm pretty sure his wife is like a nurse or something. Like she's in the medical field, so like I would assume he's vaccinated. Um,
right.
and like I don't know, just we don't know these players personally. We can't assume anything, but like yeah, most of these players I would guess are vaccinated. But like I know exactly who you're talking about with that narrative. But like the thing that struck me is saying like this is what does they deserve. It's like you can't just say that anyone deserves COVID.
Right. Right.
Like yes, of course you should get the vaccine, but you can't say that people deserve it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And like
Um,
the Yankees, they also all got the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, so I think that's why a lot of people were I think that was a large part of the cause because that one's like shown to be the least effective, but like we don't
mhm.
need to get too far into that.
Yeah,
Um
a lot of this is like non-baseball stuff, but it it was something that kind of bothered probably the both of us with that, because like even if they're 75% vaccinated, if 7 players went down with COVID, you'd figure statistically speaking like 5 of them would have been vaccinated players. So it's
yeah.
not like a thing where like none of them were vaccinated. Obviously at this stage of the season, that's not a thing really. um but yeah, that was just something that bothered me. Anything more on the Red Sox outbreak?
Nah, I mean I think like I don't know. I still don't like if they miss the playoffs from this point, like I don't think I'm going to be blaming COVID for it. Like they still have a talented enough team to where they should be able to make it.
Yeah, especially yeah, they can survive like a week long little blip that could be going on.
Yep.
um all right, you should actually, yeah, you should introduce the next topic, because this one I
So
was not that aware of.
yeah, this is ridiculous. So MLB Trade Rumors had a article come out last night around like around midnight or so, I think. At least on the East Coast, where the CBA is obviously expiring on December 1st of this year, and this is going to be a very active off season with some off the field, negotiation stuff. But the thing is, service time. A lot of people are talking about it. Are they going to keep that rule? Can they change that rule? Because nobody outside of the league offices like that rule. Players have been adamant against it. Fans don't like it. We know what they're doing. Anywho, MLB proposal. The MLB proposed to the Players Association a change to the service time system, which will have players eligible for free agency at 29.5 years of age, meaning as soon as someone hits 29 and a half years old, they are a free agent, like going into their age 30 season every time, which is 100% worse than the last system. Like
Yeah,
I mean that's just like you can see right through what the league's trying to do here because we've been in like baseball analysts as a whole, analytics people, non-analytics people, we've all been saying it's not a good idea to give a large contract to someone entering their 30s. We've seen it with Albert Pujols. We might be seeing it with some other guys, Anthony Rendon now. I mean, there's Chris Davis. Like, there are several examples of large contracts of people already in their 30s not being a good idea, which means that effectively players will get less in free agency with this rule. That's
yeah,
just a fact.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's just a
and
fact. We're not going to see any long-term stuff. Uh, there are some extreme examples of players that would have to wait super long, not wait at all, because this is like a one size fits all type of rule where it's no matter what kind of player you are, you hit age 29 and a half, you go to free agency. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the league.
Yeah, and yeah, it's stupid because yeah, it affects everyone completely differently. Like if yeah, if this were a thing with pitchers, I don't think it would be as as big of a deal because pitchers age a little differently. You got guys
Yeah.
who excel in their 30s. I think DeGrom won his first Cy Young at 30, and like Scherzer is 37 now, and he's doing great. But position players, I mean, especially the position players of today, I think I mentioned it. I think the most wins above replacement accumulated by position players in in their age 25 season or younger was combined as a league was 2018. So obviously we're in a time where young players are excelling. Luckily, this if this were to come into play, it wouldn't affect Fernando Tatis Jr. because he has gotten his big deal. But Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., they're guys that are gonna want, under what's going on now, they would hit free agency around 26, 27, 28. I mean, it would suck. Yeah, I can't imagine this being in play for people like Mookie Betts and Bryce Harper, who each signed for over $300
Yeah.
million at the age of 26, 27.
Like the like let's just say that this gets approved and this is the new system next year. The Nationals are going to look at Juan Soto as a guy who doesn't hit free agency for another 7 years rather than another 3 years or so. And they're going to be like, oh, we can just pay this guy like whatever like whatever he's going to make, which is let's say less than 20 mil a year. He's getting completely scammed out of a massive contract that he would otherwise be getting. And then let's say at age 28, his numbers are declining. He only has a 366 OBP. And it's like, oh, your age 29 season, all right. You can go out on the market and make $20 million a year in your next contract, which is severely less than he would be making. Like
Yeah,
this allows for, we talk about service time manipulation that affects rookies. This is manipulation of current players and even some veterans.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like Bryce Harper is currently under 30. He's he's been around this game for a very long time. He's been in the MLB since
Mike
2012.
Mike
Uh,
Trout would be, if he didn't sign an extension, would be eligible for free agency this coming year.
yeah, as he's
Like
on
think
kind of a
about when
downturn.
he Yeah, think about when he came up in 2011. And his rookie year was 2012. He would have had to wait what has been his entire career to go on the open market and choose where he gets to play and choose how much he gets to make.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I'm wondering, like, if you come up at 20, are you going to go through six arbitration hearings?
Yeah, like that's ridiculous. You're gonna be so exhausted and worn out by then.
Like, how? Yeah, that's a very mentally fatiguing thing. And we've heard about how awful the arbitration hearings are, where players get told why they're not, why they're not valuable uh, in an arbitration hearing, and they already have to do that three times, which you can debate if that's too many times. You can't be doing that five or six
Well, I
times.
there were the to give a little bit more specifics to what that would be like. MLB Trade Rumors said this proposal would also involve a $1 billion pool that would be dispersed in an unspecific manner to replace the current arbitration system. So I think what that means is that like teams are given $1 billion and you can spend whatever on whoever in your system.
Yeah,
That
that's
leads me to believe that the team decides and the players don't have any say, which I can't confirm that, but that's what feels like it is implied from here.
yeah. There's got to be more to that because otherwise it would be like, all right, everyone gets $600,000 this year.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like you really like if you give Paul Dolan $1 billion to spend on his players, do you really think he's going to spend more than like 50 million?
Right. Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Like they have to give the players some sort of leverage in this, and it looks like they have absolutely none.
yeah, yeah. You said MLB proposed this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the Players Association is going to shut it down immediately. And this was done in mid-August, a couple weeks ago. So they've probably already shut it down by now. I mean, I can't imagine like Tony Clark probably laughed at this and just threw it back without even taking any real consideration into it, which he should because this is a joke.
Yeah, it seems like a thing where like that's where that's how the MLB negotiations start. It's like just a ridiculous thing that they throw out there just to start the negotiation so that maybe it
Yeah.
ends up a little more in their favor towards the end. But yeah, I mean that's just it's such a stupid thing to propose.
Yeah, this is, there's zero chance this happens. Like, I will come out and say that right now. There's no way the league approves this or the Players Association approves this because, I mean, this is a scam in every single facet possible. Like, there is no way. The league is trying to take this as, oh look, no more service time manipulation of rookies. Like this is beneficial for you. This is what you want. But the reality is it's like you're taking out one scam and putting in another three.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because
That's what this is.
because it's it's the free agency after age 30. It's the $1 billion pool. It's everything. Everything's pretty messed up about this.
It's brutal.
Yeah, so it makes me a little less optimistic about how negotiations are going to go for the CBA. But hopefully that's just one blip in the radar and things will run a little smoother. But if these are the MLB's proposals, they seem kind of pretty far away on what players actually want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting there. All right, time to go to players to highlight. Players are subjects to highlight for good and bad reasons. We'll start off with the good news. Now for our Thursday, September 2nd, 2021 edition of who do you got for us today?
I'm looking at Odubel Herrera as my how about that today because he has been hitting very well over the last little less than a month. Since August 5th, Odubel Herrera is slashing 348, 427, 667 for a 1093 OPS. His 189 weighted runs created plus is the 7th best in the majors over that time. And coming into this season, the lowest career strikeout rate he had in a single season was a 20.4% strikeout rate. He was striking out 1 in every 5 plate appearances. And now it is a 15.7%, so it's dropped almost 5% from his career lowest. He is currently in the 85th percentile in K rate after never being above the 51st percentile, and he is currently in the 83rd percentile in whiff rate after never being above the 44th percentile. So he is his bat-to-ball skills have greatly improved this year, and he also has career highs in exit velocity and hard hit percentages this year. And also in this time, he has 30 batted balls with a launch angle between 0 and 35 degrees, and among the 175 hitters with at least 50 batted balls at all since then, his 1333 slugging and his 818 WOBA on those batted balls, the ones between 0 and 35 degrees, that ranks 15th. Each of them ranked 15th among the 179 of such hitters. So that is Odubel Herrera.
Odubel Herrera.
How about that?
Forming into the Phillies outfielder that they kind of wanted him to be a little bit ago. My how about that is the the best. Yeah, my how about that is a lefty on the Blue Jays that we love. Obviously, it's Steven Matz.
Of course.
Yeah, we know the Steven Matz is a big time guy on this show. Obviously,
I will never shut up about him.
yeah, for sure. You're a big fan. You're a big fan of this guy, Steven Matz. And I wore my Blue Jays shirt jersey for this guy. In his last 6 starts, he has a 1.65 ERA in 32 and 2/3 innings pitched. His ERA in this span ranks 8th, and 4 out of the 7 guys ahead of him are previous How About That's. Those How About That's are Adam Wainwright, Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Marco Gonzalez. And the other 3 outside of those guys are Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, and Corbin Burns. So he's behind some pretty good company. Also in the span, Steven Matz has a 3% barrel rate against him and has only allowed 1 home run. Also, his ground ball rate in the span is 5.7 percentage points higher than it was before the span. His pop-up rate is 5.1 percentage points higher, and his line drive rate is 6.8 percentage points lower than it was before this span. And out of the 130 pitchers with 50-plus batted balls in this 6-start span of Steven Matz's, his ground ball rate is the 19th highest. His pop-up rate is the 23rd highest, and his line drive rate is the 20th lowest out of these 130 pitchers. And his barrel rate among these 130 pitchers is 7th lowest. So Steven Matz getting some good soft contact, getting some good directional contact in terms of getting ground balls and pop-up. So yeah, Steven Matz.
How about that?
All right, so now we go from the highs to the lows, where we're talking players or subjects that have been underperforming. So now for our Thursday, September 2nd, 2021 edition of
Slightly alarming.
Who do you got for us today?
I love how ever since you learned the Savant search tool, every single one of your How About That's and Slightly Alarmings has been like entirely Savant search tool based.
Yeah, now it feels very empty if I don't include the Savant search.
Yeah,
So,
there is so much to find.
well, especially I had to for Steven Matz because he has like less than 7 strikeouts per 9 in the span, so I had to do something about how the types of contact against him.
Yep. So this is a bit awkward because my Slightly Alarming is actually a Blue Jay.
Oh wow, is it Steven Matz?
No. I'm talking about Randall Grichuk, who since July 21st is slashing 171, 250, 288, 538. And among the 155 hitters with at least 120 plate appearances since July 21st, his 171 average ranks 3rd to last, and his 47 weighted runs created plus ranks 4th to last. And the thing with him, I'm making a diagnosis here, Chris. He's got a case of the reverse splits. A pretty severe case. One of the most severe I've ever seen. I'm talking about platoons. The last time he had an extra base hit against a left-handed pitcher was July 4th. That is nearly 2 months ago. Since then, he is slashing 056, 186, 056, 242 against lefties with a negative 22 weighted runs created plus. Out of the 269 qualifiers, his average and his slugging percentage against lefties rank dead last, and his 242 OPS is also dead last among the 202 qualifying right-handers. So Randall Grichuk, very big on the reverse splits.
Randall Grichuk.
Slightly alarming.
By the way, we know the show would be going in the wrong direction if one of our How About That's was another Slightly Alarming for the same show. That would not be that would not be good.
This guy's great, but he actually sucks.
yeah, that would be rough. My Slightly Alarming is a freeze over. This is actually one of my previous How About That's from either early May or late April. It was a pretty long time ago, but he has gone a little cold in the last couple weeks. Buster Posey, he's been reversing father time for the most part this year, but his kind of come back to earth in a sense. In his last 14 games, he is hitting 137 with a 430 OPS. In this span, Out of 174 qualifiers, his average ranks last, and his on-base percentage, slugging percentage, and OPS all rank 172nd, so third to worst. And he has the 15th highest strikeout rate. Among these 174 qualifiers as well. And before this span, his strikeout rate was 18.3%, but in this span, it is up to 32.1%. And along with that, his quality of contact has also gone down. Before the span, his average exit velocity was 89.3 miles per hour, and his hard hit rate was 44%. But in this span, his average exit velocity is 83.9 miles per hour, and his hard hit rate is 27%. So about a 5.4 mile per hour difference in average exit velocity and 17% difference in hard hit rate. So been a rough patch for Buster Posey. He's getting a freeze over and a
Slightly alarming.
All right, so that does it for players or subjects to highlight. And
It
now,
does not.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have. Well, it takes away from. I guess this is a player to highlight as well.
Yeah.
It's the end of. August has passed. It is the first above replacement radio of this month. So we have to reflect on the month of August with our Carlos Santana of the Month award.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, in 2020, Carlos Santana slashed 199, 349, 350 for a 699 OPS. Pretty legendary slash line. So I took the liberty of highlighting a player who every month reminds me of that season. And for the first time this year, we have a right-handed hitter as the Carlos Santana of the Month award. And for the second straight month, we have a member of Carlos Santana's former club, the Cleveland baseball team. I'm talking about Franmil Reyes. Congratulations, Franmil. In the month of August, you had a 207, 345, 370 slash line, almost identical in a lot of ways to Carlos Santana's slash line. Only 4 points off on the OBP, 8 points off on the batting average. Very impressive. You had a 16.8% walk rate, which was tied for 5th in the majors. So he is the August edition of the Carlos Santana of the Month award. All the winners of this season have been Ian Happ, Yasmani Grandal, Abraham Almonte, Bobby Bradley, and now Franmil Reyes.
Congratulations to Franmil Reyes on the Carlos Santana of the Month award. We believed in you, and you definitely earned this one. So shout out to Franmil Reyes. All right, now we get into the preview of the weekend ahead. I've got series to watch. Daniel's got the day-by-day matchups. You previously mentioned the series that all eyes should be on. It's the best race. I would argue it's the best race in baseball right now. It's the Giants and the Dodgers. It won't be happening tonight. The Giants are finishing their series against the Brewers today, but you got Giants Dodgers Friday through Sunday. David Price is going on Friday. Arias is going on Saturday, and on Sunday, it's Buehler. So the Giants have not announced their starters yet, but I imagine there's going to be some pretty good pitching matchups there. And then another series to watch, also because of playoff implications, at least for one team. The other team kind of has their spot secured, but Padres Astros at Petco Park. That is I believe that should go Friday through Sunday. Yeah, that goes Friday through Sunday. Some of those interleague series are kind of weird. It'll go 2 days and then just stop. But Padres Astros and Dodgers Giants. Got to check those out. What do you got for the day-by-day matchups?
There's going to be so many instances over the next month where you're like, in the series to watch, the Padres playing this team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or the
every single week.
Or right, yeah, because they're playing some pretty banger series.
So tonight is Thursday. Not a lot of games, but there are some good pitching matchups. Eduardo Rodriguez versus Shane McClanahan in Red Sox Rays. Erod, don't be fooled by the 5.12 ERA. Go check out Chris's Twitter for all the information on that. Aaron Nola will be going against the against the Nationals in Washington. Frankie Montas will be going against the Tigers in Detroit. A's looking to get back in the wild card race. You have Keegan Thompson going against the Pirates for the Cubs. He's at 3.09 ERA. Been preventing some runs. Tristan McKenzie has been a lot better in his last couple of starts. He will be going tonight in Kansas City against the Royals. Matchup of the day comes from Giants and Brewers. The aforementioned Eric Lauer versus Logan Webb matchup. So then you look at Friday. You have Nathan Eovaldi going for the Red Sox in the series opener against Cleveland at Fenway. You have Randy Dobnak coming off the IL. Let's see if he can turn his season around. He has a 7.83 ERA. He'll be going against Michael Wacha in Tampa. You have Kyle Gibson going for the Marlins, or against the Marlins. For the Phillies, you have John Means versus Nestor Cortez Jr., battle of the lefties in Yankees-Orioles. You have Huskar Yanoa going for the Braves against the Rockies in Colorado. You have Shohei Ohtani pitching for the first time since he got hit on the hand on Friday against the Rangers in Anaheim. You have the aforementioned David Price. You have our guy, Jose Urquidy, going for the Astros against Jake Arrieta in San Diego. That should be an interesting one. Jake Arrieta has struggled mightily this year. You have Madison Bumgarner going against the Mariners in Arizona. Matchup of the night comes from Cardinals Brewers. You have two of my how about that's going against each other. Adam Wainwright versus Freddie Peralta. That'll be a really good matchup.
That's a great matchup.
So now on Saturday, you have Jordan Montgomery going for the Yankees against the Orioles. He's been doing very well recently. You have not a lot of matchups have been announced yet. Kwang Hyun Kim versus Adrian Hauser in Cardinals Brewers. You have Ian Anderson coming back against Herman Marquez in Braves Rockies. You have Framber Valdez versus Joe Musgrove in Astros Padres. Matchup of the night. Okay, I think I already mentioned matchup of the night. You also have Matt Boyd versus Tyler Mahle in Tigers Reds. I'm gonna say matchup of the night is Ian Anderson versus Herman Marquez in Braves Rockies in Colorado.
I believe both players to watch of ours, because I had Herman Marquez as a Rocky to watch,
and I 100% had Ian Anderson.
Yep.
So then, all right. So then on Sunday, once again, not a lot of matchups have been announced. Corey Kluber will be going for the Yankees against the Orioles. You have Cole Irvin going for the A's against the Blue Jays. Zach Wheeler will be going against the Marlins for the Phillies. Luis Patino will be going for the Rays against the Twins. Dylan Cease, been one of the better pitchers in the league recently. He will be going for the White Sox against the Royals. Corbin Burns will be going in the series finale for the Brewers against the Cardinals. Zach Davies will be going for the Cubs against the Pirates. Charlie Morton will be going for the Braves against the Rockies. Luis Garcia will go for the Astros against the Padres. Matchup of the night, or matchup of the day, comes from Tigers Reds. You have Casey Mize versus Luis Castillo.
Yeah, two guys who have been pretty good since like June. Mize has been good since May. Castillo's kind of turned it around.
It's the don't look at the first 1/3 of their season matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't count.
Funny you mentioned Cease. I believe Cease actually has been getting a little unlucky this year. Oddly enough, he's been reversing the volcano.
The perfect balance of 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to our YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also, this is probably like the last real video episode for a while, considering we're not going to be on Zoom for a while. So, check that out. And if you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. So we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Monday from Springfield College. We're going to be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball once again. See you then.
This conversation is over.